Welcome to lesson 14-6. Tonight we're going to talk about elapsed time.
I know, but Mom gave us strict orders to be home by 6 o'clock sharp for dinner. Well, the movie is an hour and 35 minutes long. If we figure out exactly what time the movie lets out, we'll know whether we can make it home in time. Dear Tim and Moby, what is elapsed time? From Towson. Elapsed time is the amount of time that elapses or passes from the start of an activity to the end. Knowing how to solve elapsed time problems is important for making plans, like catching a cool new sci-fi action flick. It's also an important part of time management in general. Like if you crawl out of bed at 7:35 and school starts at 8, you'll know how much time you have to get ready. Well, your days of tardiness are numbered, my friend. There are tons of ways to solve elapsed time problems, but we'll stick with two: the cutout clock with movable hands and the T-chart. Don't worry, you'll get it after we try a few examples. First, let's figure out when Time Twisters is really going to start. It says it's starting at 3:10, but we know there'll be about 15 minutes of previews and commercials first. So, what time will the movie really start? Let's use the T-chart for this one. We write the starting time above the left column and minutes above the right column. We know previews take 15 minutes, so we fill the right column with 5-minute intervals until we total 15. Then we add 5 minutes at a time to the start time. The time we get when we catch up to the right column is our answer. Okay, let's try another one with the clock. We took the 2:20 bus and got to the movie theater at 2:55. How long did the bus ride last? To the clock. First, we set the hands to the starting time. Then we move the minute hand 5 minutes at a time, counting as we move to the finish time. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and 35 minutes. And that's how long the bus ride lasted. Right, the T-chart and the clock both use the same basic strategy. Take the starting time, then add minutes in bite-sized chunks until you reach the ending time. This way, the strategy also works for larger units of time, like days, weeks, months, and years. So we can calculate how many days we'd have to wait if we want to see the movie next Tuesday, or what year it'll be when Time Twisters 2, the sequel, comes out 3 years from now. Exactly. Use the same T-chart, but just replace minutes with days or years. Or swap out the clock for a calendar. But that's a problem for another time. Back to minutes and hours. Let's use both the clock and the T-chart for something that lasts longer than an hour, like the 3:10 showing of Time Twisters. We simply tackle the hours first, then the minutes. First, remember we already figured out that after the previews, the movie won't start until 3:25. The movie is 1 hour and 35 minutes long, so let's add that hour first. Then let's add 35 minutes. 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, and 35. Since the minute hand has made a full circle on the clock, we advance the hour 1 more hour. And there you have it. The movie ends at exactly 5 o'clock. We'll confirm that by drawing 2 T-charts, one for hours and one for minutes. Starting with hours, we add 1 to each column. That gets us to 4:25, which we plug into the second chart as our new starting time. Now we can add minutes by 5. There you have it. We'll be out of Time Twisters at 5 o'clock, with an hour to spare before dinner. Right, even with a 35-minute bus ride, we'll definitely make it home in time. Of course, that assumes the bus doesn't take 3 days to get here.
Let's do our own together here, practicing with the T-chart. If you remember, over here you put the time, and over here is where we put the minutes and or hours. So minutes or hours that we possibly would do. Now remember they said in the video it's easier to count up by increments of 5. So if I'm at 8:13, I want to get up to my next 5, 10, 15, 20. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go 2 more minutes, which would get me to 8:15. Now it's much easier to count up. I'm going to go 5 more minutes, and that would be what? 8:20. 5 more minutes, which would be 8:25. 5 more minutes, which would bring me to 8:30. 5 more minutes, which would bring me to 8:35. 5 more minutes, which would bring me to 8:40. 5 more minutes, which would bring me to 8:45. 5 more minutes brings me to 8:50. 5 more minutes brings me to 8:55. I've run out of room. I'm going to go over here. 5 more minutes brings me to 9 o'clock. Now remember, I don't want to count up 5 minutes, 5 minutes, 5 minutes to get from 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock because I can easily count. From 9 o'clock to 10 o'clock would be 1 more hour, and then I would be at my ending time. My last step is to add up how many minutes and hours I have between 8:13 and 10 p.m. Well, I have 1 hour, 5, 10, 15, 20, 25, 30, 35, 40, 45, 46, 47. So my elapsed time is 1 hour and 47 minutes. Let's take a look at the next one. My starting time is 9:55 p.m. and I need to end at 11:42. So in this column I put 9:55, and in this column I put my minutes. Whoops. Typo. I'm going to type a little bit up here. I put my minutes or my hours. 9:55, it's already at a good starting point. If I go 5 minutes, I'm already going to be at 10 o'clock p.m., correct? Now look, I need to go from 10 o'clock p.m. to 11 o'clock p.m. So instead of adding minutes here, I'm going to add 1 hour. And now I'm going to be at 11 o'clock p.m. Now I need to go to 42 minutes. That's pretty easy to do. I could add 5 minutes plus 5 minutes plus 5 minutes, or I simply know that 42 minutes longer gives me to 11:42. So that one was pretty simple. My last step to figure out the elapsed time is to add these together. I have 1 hour, 1 hour. How many minutes do I have? 42 minutes plus my 5 minutes gives me, once again, 47 minutes. Let's take a look at this one. It gives me my start time of 5:49 a.m. My elapsed time is 5 hours and 20 minutes. I'm going to do the same thing using the T-chart. 5:49 a.m. Over here, once again, is going to be my minutes or my hours. Remember, counting up, it's easier to use in increments of 5. So I am simply going to go 1 more minute, and I'm going to now be at 5:50. Much easier to count up. Now I need to go 5 hours longer. So over here, I'm going to write 5 hours, 5:50, 6:50, 7:50, 8:50, 9:50, 10:50 would be my time. Now, I already have 1 minute down here. I need 19 more. So 5 minutes would give me 10:55. 5 more minutes would give me 11 o'clock a.m. 5 more minutes would give me 11:05. 5, 10, 15, 16 I need to go 4 more to get to 20. So I need 4 more minutes would get me to 11:09 a.m. So my ending time would be at 11:09 a.m. All right, let's take a look at our last one. This one gives you an end time of 8:27. My elapsed time is 4 hours and 13 minutes. So I need to go back in time to figure out where I started. So I'm going to end at 8:27 p.m. Now if I go back in time 4 hours, I'm going to end up at 8:27, 7:27, 6:27, 5:27, 4:27. Now I'm going to go back in time. And remember, I always want to get to increments of 5. So I'm at a 7 right now, and I'm going to go down to a 5. That would be 2 minutes. If I went down back in time, I'm now at 4:25. Oh, I'm sorry, 4:25. So if I'm at 4:25 right now, I need to go 13 total minutes. So I'm at 2 minutes. I need to go down another 5, which would give me 4:20, going back in time. Another 5, which would give me 4:15. So I'm at 5 minutes, 10 minutes, 12 minutes, and I need to go 13 minutes. So I need to go down 1 more minute from 4:15 would give me my start time of 4:14 p.m. We'll practice a lot of this tomorrow. Elapsed time is a little bit more difficult. There are no notes tonight, but have a great night.